stay cool.
Hi, Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. So, first off, a very big shout out and an apology because I hadn't chased it up because I just assumed. And as we all know, as was it in that Steven Seagal movie? Assumptions just make an A out of you and me. Never assume. So, I had assumed that Senior Constable Kristian White from New South Wales Police. I just assumed, by now he'd be in jail. I'd stopped following what was going on. So a big shout out to user Coco Jeffrey 8502 who brought it to my attention that crackhead police officer, former police officer Kristian White, is still, I believe, apparently out on bail. You know, you only commit manslaughter, cause the death of a an extremely old lady, and apparently it's too much for the judge. The judge has no idea what to do. How can he? Because he's got no other case to compare it to. So he needs someone else. I got to ask the question: what kind of judge are you if you can't hand down the sentencing? What you can't come to a conclusion or you can't look at the law and say, well, this is the law. This is what I'm going to do. He the excuses are as if no other police officer has ever in the land of Australia has ever gone to jail before. Crikey, I don't know. This is probably the most deplorable acts of indecision I've ever seen. And this judge probably needs to stand down. What kind of anyway? Let's get into it. I'm going to read. Oh, sorry, please. Before I go any further, I've got a brief ad because I've got a sponsor. So I've got a sponsor. The sponsor is myself. I've got a re-release of an old album I had done back in the 2000s. The album is called Songs from an Acoustic Heart. All songs are Christian gospel songs written by me and one song written by Paul Mazzano. And the songs are all just with an acoustic guitar. I had a guitarist by the name of Selwyn Power playing with me. The songs were all done, recorded one day, one studio. Yeah, check it out. Apparently, Hole in My Heart is getting quite a bit of airplay at the moment. Check out Songs from an Acoustic Heart if you like Christian gospel music. Thanks for listening. Okay, so welcome back. So, look, we're going to look at this video from Seven News, and this is the most ridiculous thing I have seen. Check it out. I'm going to stop it along the way, add a little bit of my own commentary.
Kristian White emerged like he always has.
Are you remorseful?
Confident, steadfast, head high.
Do you believe he should escape jail?
But he wasn't always like that. Throughout the day, his head was bowed, sometimes in his hands, as Claire Nowland's children and grandkids spoke in agonising detail the impact his actions have had on all of them. I am traumatised by his gutless coward act. My mother was denied the right to a dignified and peaceful passing. I will never forgive him for what he's done. What he did was kill 95-year-old Claire after he tasered her at Yallambee Lodge at Coombe.
So, just in case you've been living, I don't know, under a rock. Basically, the lady, Claire Nowland, who was getting around with a walker, she's in her 90s, she could barely walk, she's pulled out, she has a steak knife and in her hand, and the staff couldn't handle the situation apparently, so they've called police. Short story long. Keep going.
In May 2023. She was armed with 2 knives. Within 3 minutes of talking to her, he said bugger it and discharged his taser, causing her to fall and hit her head. I take full...
Now, before I go on too, so I was obviously a police officer with Queensland Police, so this follows in New South Wales. However, Queensland Police, it's in policy. If you come across a situation and there's a child or an elderly person, pulling a taser is not, unless there was some extreme situation, pulling a taser is not allowed. It's not in police policy. That was in Queensland. Okay, so you're not supposed to. It should have been off the table straight away. Her age would have meant that he shouldn't have been considering the taser. So many other things here to look at. Obviously, she was had a walker. She was using a walking frame to move. She couldn't walk. She could barely move. Obviously, too, he wasn't even the senior officer on scene. There was a sergeant. So you had a sergeant next to him. This sergeant was unable to make any decisions. What's the point in having a sergeant with you if the sergeant she was unable to do anything, unable to disarm the lady, unable to do absolutely anything other than stand by and watch the junior officer take a pot shot at the old lady. Anyway,
Full responsibility for my actions for causing the death of Miss Nowland, but my view is that shouldn't have an effect upon my employment, he wrote in a letter of apology.
The difficulty for the judge is that he has no other case to compare it to.
did you hear that? The difficulty for the judge is that he has no other case to compare it to. So wouldn't that, you nufty judge, have been the case for every judge who who starts when law is first brought in? When someone when they bring in new legislation and new charges, and the judge has to sit there and go, well, no one's ever been charged with this before. I'm the very first person, the very first judge to have to make a ruling because of this brand new piece of law. That's happened since the beginning of flipping law in time. For crying out loud, judge. And if you cannot make a decision, come to a conclusion, you should not be the judge. To sit there and say, the difficulty is I don't have anything to compare it to, means that you are not fit to be a judge. Surely. I didn't think it was that complicated. You look at the law, this is what the law says. This is the guidelines of the law. But what's so complicated? Because of his job? Because he was a police officer? Come on.
And his sentencing options will not make everyone happy.
And his sentencing, I'm going to go back and play this a little bit more. His sentencing options will not make everyone happy. Since when is that something that a judge has to be considering? Oh, not everyone's going to be happy with my judgment. Well, this is stupidity. I'll go back. Let's go back and listen to this again. Sorry for ranting a little.
Difficulty for the judge is that he has no other case to compare it to, and his sentencing options will not make everyone happy. Kristian White will either receive a community corrections order, like a good behaviour bond, or jail time.
The disgraced former cop will find out his fate in the...
So the options are don't go to jail or go to jail, and the judge is like, well, it's not going to make everybody happy. I don't understand what I'm listening to. Of course it's not going to make everybody happy. It's not that complicated. I read another report saying, well, the judge wants to consider, what's going to happen in jail? Is he going to be protected? Listen, judge, he's not the first police officer in the history of Australia, or in the history of New South Wales for that matter, to go to jail for doing something wrong. It's not that complicated. He's not going to be put in Gen Pop. He's going to be put in protected custody. That's what's going to happen. It's not that complicated. And there was another report saying, well, this is of the lower end of manslaughter. I'm sorry, this is not the lower end. He went in there, he saw a scenario, a live scenario. He made an assessment. He came to a conclusion, albeit a stupid conclusion. He did everything wrong. Everything was wrong. Against policy, against all common sense. He did it all wrong, and he still went and did that action, and it decisively caused Miss Nowland's death. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. It's not the lower end. It's not like he went in there and everything was a complete accident. You know, he went in there, he slipped on a pool of water, his taser came out and unloaded accidentally, and everything was an accident. It was on purpose. He went in there, assessed the situation, made a decision, and followed through on that decision. Thus, it's not the lower end of manslaughter. It's not. He should be in jail. Not that complicated. The judge should be disgraced with himself. The New South Wales government should be looking at pulling him down from the bench. He should not be a judge. This is ridiculous. We are. New South Wales is a land of nufties, I think. Seriously. I think Australia is going, what's the phrase? Going down the gurgler. We're in the toilet. We don't seem to be able to make any wise decisions anymore. Seriously, what is going on? What is going on? But anyway, this is all just my opinion. And I was only a lowly senior constable in the Queensland Police. Obviously, I don't have the education of a judge. Let me know what you think. And again, thank you for Coco Jeffrey 8502 for letting me know about this story still going on. Disgusting, ridiculous. My name is Jay Fallon. Check out my music, and thanks for your support. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel a desire that will take me